Hey folks, this is Ardwulf. Welcome back. We're going to do another D&D video today. We're going to talk about a couple of different things related to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Now, this is the Player's Handbook, which one might call if you only have one of these, then this is the one to have. Although there's a free online D&D basic rules that if you're just playing, you don't necessarily need any more than that. But if you want the full, the full Monty, as it were, you get the Player's Handbook. There's also a Dungeon Master's Guide. I actually just picked this up. If you haven't seen it, I have kind of a walkthrough of this 5th edition DMG in the previous video, so check that out if you're interested at all. I don't actually have a monster manual that matches these that in the common set. But what I just picked up, because I needed one, right? I just picked up this. This is the one of two different 3-volume plus slipcase sets that they've done for 5th edition. And there's two of these. There's the regular one, which has these regular books in it. There may be a foil cover variant of that, although I haven't actually seen a picture or handled one to know exactly what the difference is. The pictures I've seen kind of look exactly the same. There's some kind of foil emblem or something. I don't know. Could be the ampersand for all I know. So there's that, the regular slipcase version, and then for the same price you have this alternate cover version. So let's take a look at this, because these books are fine. I like the cover art in both cases, but kind of the trade dress, I think, with the this kind of standard black line font up here in the D&D logo and the little bloody stripe deal and the black spines. That's fine, but I'm not like, wow, these are like amazing and striking covers. Although the art is really good. I particularly like this DMG art, and the interior art is all really high quality too, as far as I remember. But they're not that beautiful, they're not as striking even as the 3rd edition books were. But these are the alternate covers. The spines are alternate too, so if we compare them side by side, I think this looks, even though it's a bit misregistered, as we might say, I think this is more striking. A really cool sort of mandala type thing on the back that's very D&D like. Nevertheless, you've got these horns or skulls, or possibly skull horns, and a D20, and you've got this kind of very kind of trampier looking cover art. Now, as far as I'm aware, the actual interior contents are identical between the two books. So we're just going to give like a super duper quick look. I haven't opened this in a while, as you can see. This looks a little fuzzier on the fancy version. Just looking at the title page. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So, slightly different anyway. You get a little description of the cover. In this traditional one, the regular one, in this fiery scene illustrated by Tyler Jacobson, the fire giant King Snur, suffering no fools to live, calls his hellhounds to join him in confronting unwelcome guests in his home. And okay, that's cool. I really like this cover. But this one has the same little blurb, different blurb. The fire giant King Snur glares balefully from under the visor of his white dragon's skull helmet in this fiery illustration by Hydro74. I don't know who Hydro74 is, but I really like this cover. This reminds me of the art style of Dave Trampier, who is no longer with us, who's one of the old school D&D artists. He's done many famous pieces. Kind of got out of the RPG and gaming hobby, and then passed away from, I believe, cancer a few years ago. Just as he was kind of starting to make noise about getting back in, which is really too bad. A tremendous talent. He was responsible for the comic Wormy that ran in the back of Dragon magazine for many years and ended very abruptly when he just decided he couldn't take it anymore, I guess. So kind of a tragic story, but I loved his art in the D&D books and in Wormy and, in the game Titan from Avalon Hill. It's one reason why I was never interested in buying the Valley Games updated version of Titan, even though it's very nice, is it doesn't have Dave Trampier's art, and because it can't, which is too bad. But beautiful, striking cover, I think. Monster manual. I don't have a regular monster manual to compare this to, but we'll look inside briefly. On the cover, lining up his eye stalks for the next barrage of death-dealing rays, Xanathar roars its defiance at would-be interlopers, in this illustration by a Hydro 74. Same fellow as last person, I don't know, gender on that. Xanathar, as I recall, is the beholder that lives in the sewers of Waterdeep and is like a crime lord in Waterdeep. But also a cool and very striking cover. And in fact, I wish I had a picture to show you, because I suspect that Xanathar shows up on the regular cover too. And here's a sort of Beholder-esque back cover. I really like these. They're just really striking. They have kind of a matte finish that I suspect won't wear well. But you know what? I got these two, and I'll eventually pick up a monster manual as well. So clearly the same Lich dude is on the two covers between these two. So the DMG, the regular DMG, on the cover, Tyler Jacobson illustrates the Arch-Lich Acererak as he raises an army of undead and prepares to unleash it upon an unsuspecting world. Acererak is the Demi-Lich at the end of the Tomb of Horrors. Apparently this was before that. So this one, again, beautiful. Just beautiful cover. And this one, again, a Hydro 74, an icy stare from Acererak pierces your soul as the Arch-Lich intones the final syllables of a dread incantation. And on the back, we have another sort of mandala type of back cover. Unmarred by UPC codes and stuff like that, which I also appreciate. And the, of course, D&D ampersand, which has become somewhat iconic on its own. Now, the slipcase, I'll do the slipcase, and then we'll get to the final random part. The slipcase is super thick. There does appear to be a wee bit of room in it, which is fine, because inevitably you end up putting something else in here, or the books kind of expand through use a little bit. So this should have no problems with that. Again, we have sort of this wraparound, which I can't properly show you. I might be able to in a minute, actually. Red Dragon with some D&D iconography with some skulls and some 20-sided polyhedrons and that kind of stuff. This has also got this same kind of matte finish. Now, so the slipcase, I don't know how much I'm going to use these in actual play, but I wanted them because they're really nice looking. This slipcase also comes with a Dungeon Master screen. Now, this is the regular Dungeon Master screen. This is the fancy one, which I think looks like it's the same cover. I guess we'll find out in a minute, because I'm going to open both of these. This one is shrink-wrapped. I don't know offhand if these come with anything interesting other than the screen itself. They might. I don't know that. This is, I've seen this screen set up, and this is actually I think one of the best looking screens, like official screens, that have ever been done. So it kind of comes with this folio-ish thing. I feel like this was a missed opportunity to have just blank paper in here. They could have put something in there, even if it was just neat, pretty pictures. And then you have the screen itself. Now this is, so back in the day, you had this sort of thin cardstock as the standard material for Dungeon Master screens. And I'm happy to say that we've kind of gone to more of they're sometimes called hardcover DM screens, but they're really just way thicker. So this thing, you could probably like sit on this as long as it was bunched up like this, it would probably be fine. It is also, as you might see, it is also a landscape format, which I kind of prefer that as well. It makes it seem like there's a little less of a barrier between players and Game Master. At the same time, I like to have a screen. So this is a fantastic sort of spread. I'm not sure how much you can see of this in the video, but it's kind of one big picture of this red dragon coming off this smoldering island, presumably smoldering because the red dragon just barbecued some stuff down there. It's got a D&D logo up here, and the trademark ampersand. I don't know if it's actually trademarked. probably is. And then on the inside, we've got GM relevant information. So on the first panel, we have a summary of different actions, summary of different spell areas of effect, different kinds of jumping, things you can do on your turn. I guess that's fine. I mean, this edition of D&D is less dependent on tables than previous editions. This is handy. This is a summary of conditions, and this actually takes up 1.5 panels of the different conditions and what they do. This is super helpful. We've got some general charts and tables here, setting at difficulty. DC is difficulty. I forget exactly what it stands for, but it's basically the target number. This is how to set that. Hit points for objects, associated abilities for the various skills or proficiencies, pace of travel, which is nice to have on a screen, I think, encounter distance, typical like food, drink, what is a stay at the inn cost, that kind of stuff, what cover does. So as far as what's on the screen, I think it's a pretty good selection of stuff. Is it identical to what I'd have chosen? Probably not. But that's the standard Dungeon Master screen reincarnated. Now, I gather there were two different 5th edition versions of this. How the pre-reincarnated version differs, I couldn't tell you. This one we're going to open, and I like to get the shrink wrap started on these things so that I don't sit here fumbling for 5 minutes with the shrink wrap. So I'm going to guess and say the contents of the screen are identical. That appears to be the case. It absolutely does, illustrations and all, but the cover art differs. So this does appear, and I'm going to show you half of it, but the other half is just a mirror of that. So this is definitely a variant of the... It doesn't actually look like the same art. It's the same idea. If we look at the slipcase version, it might just be a modified version of the same art. It's really close. If it isn't. I believe it is somewhat rotated too. But this is more abstract. Actually, in this case, I might say that I like the regular screen's art better. But this is really nice and does have that sort of soft, beautiful, matte finish type of thing that I like. The inside, by the way, of both screens does have a glossier finish, which is a little... It's not really a gloss. I'd call it like a semi-gloss. You don't really want glare on it, but at the same time you want good lighting. So this is the little preview of the alternate editions set. I will say that looking at the spines under the lighting I currently have going, that the text on the spine of the Dungeon Master's Guide is very hard to see, but it's purple, so you know that the purple one is the DMG, and I guess you're fine. I really like the look of these volumes. That's why I picked this one up, as opposed to just buying all 3 regular books. You're getting a bit of a discount. I can tell you that you're going to get about $30 off suggested retail if you buy this on Amazon. If you do plan to buy it, it might be a good idea to buy it pretty soon, because I understand there was one printing of these, and there won't be another. Although, for all I know, they might do another variant cover version. But I really like these. I think they're really gorgeous. Really classy looking. The spine. I put the spines on slipcases out so that you can see them, because I think it looks cool. Not that I have that much in slipcases, to be honest. I have a little bit, though. So anyway, thanks for watching. That's a little preview of the alternate cover slipcase set for D&D 5th edition. I hope to do more stuff on D&D and RPGs. I also have some other stuff coming, so stay tuned to the channel, particularly if you're a long-suffering Ardwulf's Lair viewer waiting for a specific thing. That specific thing is probably coming soon. So thanks again. We'll see you next time.